So the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics officially dissolved in 26 December 1991 and was divided into 15 new independent countries. The fall of the Soviet Union saw the US win the Cold War after a huge struggle for global supremacy with the Soviet Union, and also eliminated the only Marxist-Leninist superpower in the world. The fall of the Soviet Union is kind of complicated, and there was a lot of trickery and corruption behind it. The collapse of the Soviet Union can be categorized into three sections. 1. End of the arms race. 2. End of the Eastern Bloc. 3. Betrayal of the people of the other Soviet republics. The Soviet economy was largely isolated in 1982, since the Marxist-Leninist economic structure of the Soviet Union did not allow foreign capitalist institutions to set up businesses in the Soviet Union. It prevented the USSR from being involved in the global market, with trade and exports being the major income source for the Soviet Union. The era of stagnation, which was an era of massive military expenditure, which started under the leadership of Leonid Brezhnev, was largely responsible for this economic downturn. To understand the difference between the perspective of Gorbachev, Brezhnev, and Khrushchev in terms of repression for dominance of Marxism-Leninism within the Soviet Union, we must take a look at this from the perspective of a bottle, with the water being the Soviet economy and the grip being the political inclination towards authoritarianism. Khrushchev allowed for the bottle to drain, but didn't let it drain completely and loosened his grip over the bottle a bit. Brezhnev let the bottle drain more and more and more, but not letting his grip loosen, whereas Gorbachev loosened his grip to prevent the bottle from draining more. With the help of that beautiful and meaningful representation of pure perfection, we understand that Brezhnev drained the Soviet economy more and more and more to continue the arms race and continue high military expenditure to fund military coups in countries, while Gorbachev loosened his grip over the Soviet Union and reduced military spending. Another major blow on the Soviet Union was the August coup of 1991. In the coup, Gorbachev was placed under house arrest. The coup was carried out by high-ranking members of the Communist Party like Pavel Grachev, the defense minister, and Gennady Yanayev, the vice president. The coup was ended in a mere 3 days, and Gorbachev was released. However, the leader of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, Boris Yeltsin, became the de facto leader, and after the coup, Gorbachev had to dissolve the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Also, if you were wondering, yes, this party, which got dissolved in 1991, was the same Bolshevik faction party which broke out from the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party in 1903. Gorbachev ended the Marxist-Leninist system of politics by ending the Communist Party's monopoly on the government. He also eliminated socialism by legalizing private ownership of the means of production, ending equal distribution of public wealth. This opened the USSR up to the global market. All this can't be blamed on Gorbachev though. Workers in the Soviet Union had been irresponsible for the equal treatment everyone got and didn't work hard to maintain their jobs. The Soviet government too didn't give this issue much attention. Another reason for economic ruin is the Afghanistan War of 1979. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan killed a lot of Red Army soldiers and cost the Soviet Union $20 billion annually from 1979 to 1989. The Soviet government was also plagued with corruption. For the long-term work of the government, officials became comfortable with their jobs and didn't feel like needing to improve. The Soviet Union was also weakened by the economic reforms of Gorbachev. His reforms of perestroika and glasnost allowed greedy Soviet citizens to own private businesses, and it also allowed citizens to make political parties. Although the Soviet Union disintegrated for internal pressure, that isn't the only real reason. The Sino-Soviet split of 1960 limited Soviet support in the communist world. Now, if we see this from Gorbachev's perspective, the plan he wanted to implement could have been something to do with easing the arms race and, more importantly, temporarily stepping back on internal policies. The Soviet economy during Gorbachev's reign was in better condition during its last years. The main reason for the end of the Soviet Union, though, was, without a doubt, Gorbachev's leniency towards foreign policy. He allowed the Soviet Union to fall in front of his eyes. Gorbachev actually introduced these reforms in the Eastern Bloc, but they took advantage of the weak control of Gorbachev over the Soviet Union by declaring independence, which Gorbachev's policy of glasnost allowed. In conclusion, Gorbachev tried to ease the Soviet administration of its internal difficulties. The same regime running for several years does result in corruption, which becomes a problem in the country's leadership. However, the Marxist-Leninist form of government is something that has proven to be successful for a lot of countries. One thing we must put into account: for every country which runs well without Marxism, some countries just don't require it. Countries like the United States of America and the United Kingdom are able to function properly with the private sector by maintaining capitalist economies. This is further solidified when we take into consideration these nations' populations and territory they control. The amount of production output required in these countries is far less than the production output required in larger and densely populated countries like India, China, and the former Soviet Union. The Soviet Union officially dissolved on 25th December 1991 and ended 70 years of Bolshevik rule in Russia.